Every great city has its tales, and I've been documenting their stories and people for over 20 years. This is Tales of a City.
Well, today I find myself on a Sunday at church, which is very unusual for me. But it is the 100th anniversary of the St. John's Spiritual Church. It should be a very interesting day, and this place has a lot of history. So stand by. You're about to find your inner spirit. Spiritualism began in America in the 1840s, and by the 1880s, seances were held in Adelaide. As spiritualism grew in popularity, two friends, Mrs. Duncan and Mrs. Watson, held study circles in their homes and various civic halls. The Spiritual Society of St. John was established in August 1915 to, quote, study and impart the profound spiritual truths and philosophy of life. When vast numbers of grieving family members needed a sense of peace and closure, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle himself became interested in spiritualism after losing his son in the First World War. In 1920, he toured the world, speaking on the subject, and representatives of St. John's attended his lecture at the town hall, which attracted a crowd of 2,000 people. He wrote about Adelaide, "I have seen few such cities, so pretty, so orderly, and so self-sufficing." The foundation stone of St. John's Spiritual Church was laid on the 31st of May 1924, and the first dedication service was held on the 2nd of August 1924, conducted by the acknowledged co-founders Reverend Duncan and Mrs. Janet Watson. But it wasn't all beer and skittles. Some people still considered spiritualism to be either the subject of the occult or even witchcraft, and in some circumstances it was illegal. In fact, Jemima Freer Watson, a well-known medium of the time, in 1936 was fined for fortune-telling, declaring that she had spiritual powers and quoting passages from the Bible as the basis for her claims. Mrs. Freer Watson conducted her own defence against a charge of pretending to tell fortunes, which was heard in No. 4 Adelaide Police Court by the magistrate, Mr. Clark. Ruling that there was no doubt Mrs. Watson had intended to tell the fortune of a policewoman, the magistrate imposed a fine of £12, with £1 costs. In 1939, over 230 people attended a banquet celebrating the Silver Jubilee of the St. John's Society. Special services were also held on the Sunday and attended by representatives of all the local spiritual churches.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sue Yench. On behalf of the board and the committee of St. John's Spiritual Church, we would love to warmly welcome each and every one of you. We really would like to thank you for sharing this wonderful day, this 100th anniversary. And it is a joy and an honour for me to be standing here today on this very special day. And you will never know how much I'm touched by that. Because I would like to dedicate this Sunday, this very special day, the 31st of May, when Reverend Duncan and Mrs. Watson laid the foundation stone for this amazing building, so that we could all come together in this wonderful energy for whatever we need coming through those doors. And I also would like to thank my committee, I shouldn't say mine, should I? Because it's not. I would like to thank the board and the committee for all the work they've done. I'd also like to honour and respect all the previous presidents and all the board and the committees that have walked before us.
Rushing on, it's pouring out, it's winding through the air. Who knows what you call it, but it's there. It is there. All I see is all I want is tearing from side by side. Now I see it's everywhere, it's
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Nigel Keenan, and I am a member of the North Melbourne Church of the Victorian Spiritualist Union. And it is my great honour and privilege to be delivering a letter of congratulations from your sister churches in Melbourne to you on this very special day. Dear President Sue and committee and members of the congregation, I am writing in honour of St John's attaining 100 years of service to your members and to your community. What a wonderful achievement for you as the current president, your committee and members, and all of the past presidents, committees and members to have reached. We understand the dedication, loyalty and hard work required for many people, for any organisation to be successful over so many years. There would have been times of uncertainty, there would have been times of discrimination and financial struggles, but your forebears still carried on just as you do today. There is no doubt that the evidence, teaching and comfort that your congregation would have witnessed during this time will have impacted on so many people's lives and changed the pathway for many who had previously not realised their spiritual resources. I know that people often come to receive evidence of the reality of the spirit world, and it gives them hope, which makes such a difference at times of despair or times of loneliness. Yet there are many times that you, your dedicated mediums and workers, will not be aware of the difference that you've made in someone's life. You do as workers, what you do as workers for the spirit world is often a thankless task, but you trust that you're providing what is needed for your community, and you continue nevertheless. Reaching your centenary successfully demonstrates that your welcoming and inclusive environment has provided a spiritual community here at St John's that will undoubtedly draw people from all walks of life for many, many years to come. And I just want to end on a little personal note. So whenever I come back to Adelaide to visit my family, I love visiting this church. And I love the fellowship and the congregation that's here. And I've been really blessed to be able to make some connections and friendships with some of the people here. And those that know me know I'm a bit of a history nerd, and I like reading up on our past. And I stand in awe of our forebearers who blazed a trail and established spiritualism in our communities, and especially to our spiritualist sisterhood, those amazing women who back in a time when they could barely vote, not meant to be heard. These amazing, ballsy, dedicated women were out establishing churches, establishing groups, and speaking in halls and lectures. And I just stand in awe because of people like Reverend Duncan and Mrs. Watson. I get to live my faith today, and I'm forever humbled and thankful for them. So have an amazing 100 years. The next 100 is going to be amazing, and you are all amazing.
So on this auspicious day, I find myself thinking about the legacy with which we have been entrusted. And I'm overflowing with gratitude to be part of this wonderful church and community. Even though we have no first-hand knowledge of our founders, we can tell from their achievements that they were committed, passionate, and focused on building and creating a movement and a legacy that has endured for 100 years. And I also, as Sue has, humbly acknowledge all who followed them throughout the decades for their dedication and work to keep the doors of this mission open. Our founders worked for Spirit and their community during the first half of the 1900s, through 2 world wars and a depression, and at a time when the witchcraft laws were enforced. At that time, churches and benevolent societies were the only support for people in troubled circumstances. We stand on the shoulders of giants who forged solid foundations and showed us the way. A lot has changed since the dedication of this building, and yet everything important is exactly the same. Society's values and attitudes have changed. Technology, science, and medicine have advanced. And our world would be unrecognisable to our forebears in many ways. But the important aspects and principles of life on earth are constant. The law of nature, the law of truth, and the natural law of spirit are steadfast, and the needs of the human race for safety, love, connection and purpose have always been and will always be unchanged. In the midst of current difficult times, it is essential that we keep pushing forward, looking up, and focusing on creating a better, healthier society. Our first responsibility, starting with ourselves, is to be kind. As we grow and develop and take care of our personal well-being, we are better able to support those around us as they seek their purpose and work towards living a spiritual and fulfilled life. Our second responsibility is to pass on to future generations the qualities that remain important within every country, race and religious belief throughout the world. To love one another, to be tolerant, to forgive, have resilience, and very importantly, to be change-skilled. Because in our outer world, change is a certainty. Things go in and out of fashion, in and out of form, and in and out of popularity. Let us strive to teach the next generation to dance on the shifting carpet, to embrace the positive changes and quietly resist and stand against negative changes. Our mission here is to make sure there is no other, to ensure no one feels less than or excluded. Our undertaking is to continue to create a space where everyone is welcome, to maintain this sacred space, and to foster a community that will endure, grow, and thrive for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Well, no matter what your beliefs are, or no matter what your religion is, there is no doubt that this building is full of an amazing amount of love. The feeling of spirituality in that room was quite overwhelming. I found it very peaceful, and I found it very respectful. So this, the 100th anniversary of St John's Spiritual Church, is certainly significant, not only to those people, but the people that came before them. And let's hope that it continues on for another 100 years. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode, and bless you all.